Fulton County Judge Earl Glanville's goose is cooked, as a new petition has been submitted to recuse him from the trial. Now, this is, of course, in relation to the YSL RICO trial of musician Young Thug, a trial that seems to be biased, as the defense team has alleged that the judge is a part of the prosecution. Now, obviously, this type of practice is not allowed. The judge has to be impartial to both sides. But things are quite different here. We're talking about Fulton County, Georgia here, okay? And we're also talking about District Attorney Fani Willis and her office, because it's them that's supposedly working with the judge. They tried to keep it a secret, but, well, the truth always comes out. Now, unluckily for them, it came out right before the trial, well, before the trial even ended. And this has led to a lot of people calling for Judge Glanville to step down, because he's shown us that he's working with the prosecution team. He's an accessory to possible witness intimidation. However, he remains defiant, and he says that he's not going anywhere, even though he was visibly shaken when he was confronted by the defense attorney, Brian Steele, about this. Now, I know you guys remember how he stood up and practically shouted at Steele to reveal his source, right? And yet it's clear that he's not stepping down, at least not voluntarily.
Defense attorney Brian Steele filed a motion to have the judge removed from this case. He claims the current judge is biased against his client Jeffrey Williams, aka rapper Young Thug. The judge overseeing the YSL RICO trial denying the motion to recuse himself from the case.
I've consumed everything on it, and that doesn't change my ruling at this point in time, respectfully.
The motion, filed by rapper Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele, largely centers around the meeting that occurred earlier this month between the judge, prosecutors, and a key witness. Steele alleging the private meeting was improper and that defense attorneys were not notified about it.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers?
Steele's refusal to divulge who told him about the conversations that occurred during that meeting, prompting the judge to hold Steele in contempt and give him jail time.
So I've added this court to the witness list.
While the judge plans to stay on this case, Steele says he plans to ask witness Kenneth Copeland about that private meeting during cross-examination.
When that day comes, I'm going to ask him about how much pressure, if any, the court put on him. And you're going to be the one instructing the jury. And I just can't imagine how that's fair to Mr. Williams.
Now, this verified emergency petition for writ of mandamus was filed by DeMonte Kendrick, aka Yacht Gotti. Now, it was filed with Fulton County Superior Court, and as you guys might already know, it's again regarding this ex parte conversation that keeps coming up regarding Judge Glanville that he had with the prosecution and a key witness, which kind of makes sense of the judge's anger when he tried to put Steele in jail because of this. Now, he knew that this secret conversation with Fani Willis's team was wrong, and he knew for a fact that it was going to cause a lot of problems down the road. He also understood that this alone would have multiple people calling for his removal. Now, this petition, it's similar to what we've seen with Brian Steele. It's a little bit lengthy, so I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible and cut out all the extra fat. So a secret meeting is the main focus here. An ex parte conversation that was not done in the presence of the defense team. They also were not notified that it was even happening. The petition also alleges serious breach of the Georgia Code of Judicial Conduct, saying that Judge Earl Glanville purposefully tried to hide this conversation from the defense team. A huge red flag for any court proceeding, guys, which now begs the question if this trial is fair for Young Thug. And this kind of reminds us of how DA Fani Willis tried to keep a cork in her relationship with her lead prosecutor. They were trying so hard to keep it a secret because she and Nathan Wade knew that it was a conflict of interest and that this could affect the election interference case against Donald Trump, which is why that particular case is on pause and why Fani Willis is pissed beyond imagination. But getting back to this petition here, there's a few things that they want to happen. Now, one of which is the appointment of an unbiased judge. They feel as if this secret meeting with Fani Willis's team is just too much, that this cries corruption, and it shows that the judge is working against the defense. They also note that this motion meets all of the requirements of USCR 25.1, 25.2, and 25.3, which means that this case should be assigned to another judge for consideration. Now, it's also written here that they want the entire transcript to be provided. Now, as you guys might remember, Judge Glanville said that it is possible that he provides portions of this ex parte conversation. Now, the defense argues that the entire transcript should be provided with no redactions. Now, the logic is that, they should be privy to whatever happened in this meeting because they also have to figure out how they're going to defend their client in court. Glanville has already said that he doesn't plan on giving the defense team this entire meeting's conversation. Now, you got to wonder, is it because he did something illegal or is it because he helped the prosecution team intimidate a key witness? Now, we got to ask, what happens next? Well, if the court denies the requested relief in this motion to recuse, well, the defendant will request that the court make special factual findings and will submit that the judge should voluntarily recuse himself. But if he doesn't do that, and if this case isn't given to an unbiased judge, then comes the end game. They will request a mistrial as the defendants are not receiving a fair trial. Now, this is based on their constitutional right of due process and is under the 6th Amendment. But many people believe that Judge Glanville won't do a thing, that he will continue to remain as the judge in this case, even though the vast majority of onlookers can see his corruption, which again is eerily similar to what DA Fani Willis is doing. Now, I'm not really sure if it's the norm in Fulton County to have corruption within the justice system, but these officials, they're certainly not making it look any better. I guess this is why Donald Trump's team is also calling for Fani Willis to be disqualified for her misconduct.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is on the stand in court, testifying about her relationship with Nathan Wade, a special prosecutor hired to handle the election interference case against former President Donald Trump. This is a part of a hearing where Trump and 8 of his co-defendants are pushing to remove Willis from the case they are alleging misconduct. 11 Alive's Grace King has been there today. She's live from the Fulton County Courthouse. So, Grace, we've heard hours of testimony so far. We know the testimony is still going on, but walk us through the highlights so far.
Well, the highlights certainly include hearing from District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade themselves about the details of their relationship. Take a look at this video as both sides were debating whether Fani Willis should be compelled to testify. Fani Willis herself walked in the courtroom and said she wanted to. She asked for 3 documents and then started pushing back on questions from the defense attorneys.
So after that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
Okay.
See, they've raised this to the Georgia Court of Appeals, and they're pretty confident that the DA will be removed from the entire interference case. Which reminds me that Donald Trump is still pushing for his presidential immunity office, something that the Supreme Court is still reviewing to this day. And many are now saying that President Joe Biden should support this bid for Trump because it's pretty clear that he's going to be in a lot of trouble once he leaves office. And by the way, I did a video explanation of this whole situation in a previous video. Definitely check that video out right after this one. It's best that you guys check that one out because we could be seeing multiple charges against President Joe Biden right after he has to leave the White House. So do you guys believe that the president has in fact committed crimes against the American people? And if so, should President Biden also face prosecution? Now, I understand that we all have different perspectives on things, and I really do appreciate all of them. So let's try to keep it respectful in the comments. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. Thank you for sharing these videos, and I will see you on the next one.